This man changed students' lives but never told them it was him. For years, students in one small U.S. town opened envelopes that meant everything, but they never knew the quiet, retired teacher watching from the back of the auditorium had paid for every single one. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe for more stories like this. Eugene Brown was the kind of teacher you remember long after graduation. Therefore, when he retired, everyone assumed he'd spend his days fishing, reading, maybe visiting old colleagues. But Eugene had a secret, one he guarded more carefully than his own health. He'd spent decades watching bright, capable students vanish from the hallways after senior year, not because they lacked ambition, but because their families couldn't afford tuition. Therefore, on the day he turned in his classroom keys, Eugene made himself a promise. He would not let money be the reason a mind went to waste. The first envelope came a year later. A young woman named Maria opened it after her shift at the diner. Inside was a scholarship that covered her entire first year of college. She cried in the bathroom, clutching the letter. Therefore, she studied harder, believing the world hadn't forgotten her. But she never knew who made it possible. Eugene could have put his name on every check, every letter. Therefore, people would have called him a hero. But he knew recognition changes the story. It shifts the spotlight. He didn't want these kids to feel like they owed him. He wanted them to believe they'd earned it. Every spring, he'd sit in the back row of the graduation ceremony. The lights would dim, names would be called, and one by one, envelopes would be handed out. Therefore, he watched lives change in real time, but no one ever turned to thank him. And that's exactly how he wanted it. His savings dwindled faster than his family liked. Therefore, his sister begged him to stop. But Gene, you're giving away everything you have. He just smiled. I'm not giving it away, I'm investing. But deep down, he knew there would come a day when he couldn't keep it up. It came one winter when his hands shook too much to write. Therefore, he asked a friend to deliver the last envelope for him. A boy named Chris opened it, stunned. College had been a dream, not a plan. He looked out into the crowd, searching for someone to thank. But Eugene wasn't there. He was at home, by the window, watching the snow fall, knowing he'd done what he could. When Eugene passed away, the truth came out. Letters were found in a box, receipts, scholarship notes, lists of names. Therefore, former students returned one after another, telling stories of how those anonymous envelopes had changed everything. But Eugene wasn't there to hear it. And maybe that's the point. Because real generosity doesn't need an audience, it just needs someone willing to give without keeping score. Have you ever helped someone without them ever knowing it was you? Tell us in the comments.